Hey, Joe and Craig. Thanks for taking the time to chat today.
Pleasure to be here.
Really lovely to see you. Thank you so much.
Real quick, maybe just give us a quick intro of who you both are, your roles, and what your company Let's Talk Talent does.
Sure. I'm Joe. I'm MD and founder of Let's Talk Talent. We are a talent management and organizational development consultancy, soon to be 10 years old, which is super exciting. And our mission and purpose is to help organizations get, keep, and grow brilliant people.
Amazing.
Awesome. Thanks, Joe. And lovely to be here, Steve. Thanks so much for having us on. I'm Craig. I'm the Sales and Operations Director here at Let's Talk Talent.
Great. Well, once again, thanks for taking the time to meet with us. We appreciate you being customers of Copper and appreciate the partnership that we've had. And so I'm just gonna jump into it. First, I have a few questions for Joe, and then we'll jump into some questions for Craig, if that's okay. So, Joe, tell us just a little more about Let's Talk Talent, like who you guys are, what you do, why you decided to start the company. Just give us a little more detail about yeah, what tell us more about Let's Talk Talent and why you started it and yeah, a little more detail.
Sure, no problem. So I've had a really squiggly career. So if you'd have told me when I left university studying kind of media that I'd be on this video today talking about 10 years of running a business, I'd tell you you were stark raving bonkers, to be honest with you. Because I started off in the creative industries. I started off at the BBC and I stayed there for 7 years before running a brand at Channel 4, another broadcaster here in the UK, before then running a global team at Talk Talk, which at the time when I took it over as sort of talent management and OD director, had the worst reputation in the whole of the UK and globally for broadband. And I thought there's a challenge to, if I can make them an employer of choice, and I've worked at some sexy brands and they were certainly not sexy, I can do it anywhere. And so I suppose nearly 10 years ago, if I'm honest with you, Steve, I was a bit burnt out. I was kind of a bit fed up with the kind of corporate big business mentality, the sort of pointy elbow, you kind of got to kind of play the politics game. And that's, for those of you that don't know me, I'm not very good at that, to be honest with you. Sometimes and you may see it on this video today, sometimes my head and my mouth don't interchange, and sometimes what you get is just me, right? But in a big organization, that's really difficult to sometimes navigate. So I thought to myself, what can I do? I went and had a bit of a play because I wanted to have a portfolio career. And Let's Talk Talent was born from that. It was an itch that I really wanted to scratch, which is fundamentally that I believe everyone has potential. You know, everybody, regardless of background, education, socioeconomic, global factors, we all have potential. The question we don't ask ourselves in organizations is potential for what? And so that's what I believe passionately about. That hasn't changed in the years of setting up the business. And it started just with me really having a bit of a play. And over the years, I've recruited an amazing team, and now there's five of us with a team of associates, and we work with businesses probably in the same sweet spot as Copper, from boutique sort of consultancies up to bigger organizations, but fundamentally help them get, keep, and grow brilliant people, because we all know that people are the lifeblood and that tech is a really important enabler. But without the people interpreting the data and interpreting, and making it possible, then you don't have a business. And while we think we're all going to be taken over by robots, actually the human side of HR or people or whatever you want to call it is what I believe in passionately. And I really wanted to give something back and feel that in my career, however long that may be, is that I left a mark that was bigger than I could ever have done in big corporates. And that's what we stay true to now. And whether that's working on a careers piece, whether that's doing a piece of coaching, we've just launched a coaching program with Bupa today. It's just exciting, and I get energy and still get excited by the deals that we do, nearly 10 years on. So who doesn't want to be doing something that you're passionate about and that brings you joy and hopefully makes an impact, even if it's a small thing, into the wider ecosystem of the world of work?
I love it so much. I mean, I can feel your passion. I can hear your energy. What a blessing to be able to do something that you love. And, that mission is so important. I've been a leader in tech companies for a long time, and there is truly nothing more important than the talent you have and the people you have. And sometimes, maybe they're in the wrong seat and you need to identify that, they're actually stronger in this area. I think a lot of companies forget to dig in and really understand people and where their talents are and put them on the right seats on the bus so that you can help them succeed and help the company succeed. So what a great mission, what an amazing company, and congrats to you on that.
Thank you.
If you look back, if you were to, knowing what you know now, looking back, would you do anything differently in starting the company?
Well, first, I suppose the first thing is I will have still started the company. I still believe wholeheartedly. Otherwise, I wouldn't do what we do. I would have said to Craig years ago, here you go, you take it on. And maybe that will happen in the future. I don't know. But while I still have that passion and energy, I think that's what keeps me up at night a lot of the time. But also keeps me going and hopefully makes me a better leader of my team because of that. I think if I look back at, the 9 years, I think I probably would have trusted my gut. I was saying this to the team. So some people would say that I've got a really strong gut. I know when something's going right. I know when something's going wrong. I'm not a massive data geek, but I know in my heart of heart where things aren't working in the business. And I think when I first started, I doubted myself, and I still do. I still sometimes have that imposter sitting on my shoulder going, you don't know what you're doing and you haven't run a business before and there are, you can't get it to that. And I have a coach that kind of kicks me into touch and helps me do that. And Craig does as well. He's a brilliant colleague, but also a really dear friend in the fact that he'll tell me the truth. So I think I would have, first of all, I think I would have trusted my gut a little bit more and maybe called certain things earlier. So we, turning it around on, why we chose HubSpot, why we chose Copper, sorry, and was because we didn't trust our gut and we went to work with HubSpot. And really, we probably knew it. I don't know if you agree, Craig, but we probably knew it 6 months into that relationship that it wasn't for us. But it took us a year and a half to figure it out. So I think I wish I'd done that. I think that sometimes we have perhaps made some wrong talent decisions. I think, even as a talent management consultancy, you think, oh, we'd be brilliant at hiring. They don't know what they're doing, but sometimes I can get seduced by somebody being as enthusiastic or saying the right things to me. And actually, when you look under the bonnet, it's not quite there. So I think, some talent decisions, I think I would do that. And then the third thing is probably simplifying. So I've been reading a lot around, boutique consultancies, which is probably our size, and simplifying the message. And I think one of the things that people sometimes have got confused about us is that we do a broad spectrum of talent management and OD. And this year, we've really simplified it into sort of 7 key pillars. Now you'd say 7, oh, why can't it be 4? Actually, we really know exactly what we do and what our sweet spot is. So at the beginning, I probably was a bit of a scattergun. I sort of took everything, and that got me a reputation and got us moving. But I think that sometimes people haven't known where to buy from us, and we've not made it easy in understanding the customer and the journey. And we've got much, much better at that. I would say those are probably the 3 lessons I've taken over the last 9 years.
Amazing. I resonate so much with the imposter syndrome in the beginning, right? Like, do I know what I'm doing? But I do find 9 times out of 10, you've been in the space long enough, you kind of understand what's going on, your decisions, your gut is not just random, it's backed up by experience and can help you, make better decisions. And, certainly hiring people, we've made mistakes on our end too. And then, yeah, simplify, and find the right customers. I mean, that's what we've done at Copper, is really focus on who are our customers. We could go after anyone in the world, but CRM's so crowded. And so, like, who are the right customers for us, and how do we build a business around that? And so that resonates a lot with me. Um,
But it takes courage, right?
it
It
does.
takes
It
courage
takes
to
a
do
lot of
that, and
courage.
sometimes, holding your nerve. So this year, I don't know if it's been the same for you, but this year's been really tricky. But in the UK, it's been really tricky. And while we're UK headquartered and we work globally, actually, when a market downturns, it can have a big effect if a high percentage of your customers are there. The world discombobulation, the elections in the States, and they've had a big effect. And sometimes there isn't the work there. So it's then going back to basics and thinking about, okay, so we did a lot of work around our personas. Who are our customer? What are they buying from us? What are their pain points? What are the impacts that we can show? We've been very bad in terms of showing the impacts that we've had, and now we've kind of got better at saying, look, if you've got a problem around engagement or a culture or performance management, here's what we've done, here's the impacts, the hard and soft metrics, so that does come up in SEO, or it comes up in conversations, and so people understand. And that's what they want, because there isn't a finite amount of money to developing people. If anything, that's shrinking, and people are getting smarter. That better for less piece, feeding off what's behind you in effect. So you've got to be one step ahead, and that's sometimes tricky when the market can be at a standstill. And so sometimes you're waiting to see what happens, and then you're holding your nerve and you're thinking, but if you trust your gut and you know that what you do is good, and you use your network and your customers like you're doing with us to sell yourself, that's a much better way than spending loads of money on SEO or LinkedIn, all of the kind of marketing tools. You're one step closer to the sale, right?
It is so true. I mean, I think getting into a community and an industry of people that you serve is critical, and holding your nerve is so critical. And I think for me, I love what you said. What always brings me back is when I talk to our customers and how much they like what we do and what we're doing and the value they get out of us. And then I get snapped back into reality and say, this is right. Let's keep going. Stay the course. These are the right types of customers. And I love that. Let's see. Do you mind if we switch some questions over to Craig?
Perfect.
So thank you, Joe. Amazing. I'm truly inspired by what you're doing, and congrats on what a wonderful business that you're running. I want to get a little tactical with Craig, if that's okay.
Sure.
You ready, Craig, to jump
Absolutely.
in? All
Absolutely.
right. Let's talk about process more, your process. So, Joe, you talked a lot about your customers and finding the right types of customers. How do you find customers? How do you bring in new customers? Like, what does that look like when you want to, to bring on a new customer?
Yeah, and just tying back to something that Joe mentioned a minute ago, sort of lessons learned. I think we were quite humbled this year with probably trying too much, being too reactive, and actually just sticking by our guts and being consistent is a key message that, or a key learning, I would say, for this year, and something that we're definitely going to take forward into 2025 is that sort of consistency piece, and just again keeping at it, sticking by your guns, as you mentioned, Steve, and just knowing that this is the right course that you're on and just sticking to it and find that consistency. But I think from a new customer perspective, overall, we're a relationship driven organization. Many consultancies are, people buy from people. So we're all about building those strong connections and strong relationships to become those trusted advisors where people will come to us to find and have guidance and have those open conversations when they're stuck. That's what we really aim for. Even when it's pro bono and we're not doing it for people doing it on consultancy projects, that's really what we're trying to aim for, is when people will pick up the phone and say, I'm stuck in this element. Because actually, if we do that and create that trust, that's when we know that they'll come back to us and ultimately provide great value to who we're working with. Now, from a sales perspective, if we're looking at my strategy for next year in 2025, it's a three-pronged or three-pillared approach. Probably not pillar. We're talking a lot about pillars today. Let's go prong to be slightly different. The first one is sustain existing. As an organisation, you've got to look after your existing customers and your clients. That's the most important part And funny enough, this is the reason why we're with Copper, because the previous organisation we were with, or previous CRM, didn't look after their existing customers. So that was probably one key thing for us as a sales organisation to really focus on. We're also looking to grow new. Again, it's fundamentally important that you keep that funnel topped up with new clients, new prospects coming through. But our third prong is actually building internationally as well. As an organisation, we're UK headquartered, so headquartered in London, UK, but we've always done internationally or worked internationally through organisations that have a UK arm or business and operate globally. We've never really got into the regional markets, so that's one thing that we're looking to get more into, and actually working with organisations that are based more regionally on the ground, rather than sort of going through the UK arm of their business and then working internationally with them there. So if I go back to the new pillar, again, international is a new thing that we're going to be focusing on, but we get customers through a real diverse mix of initiatives, as any sales function would do. And I could talk to you for hours about blogs, articles, webinars, events that we're doing. But actually, I think the real key to that is collaboration between sales and marketing. The amount of organisations that I've worked in before where sales and marketing are constantly arguing against each other, saying, this is a marketing qualified lead, the leads aren't good enough quality. But actually, if you just take that out and work more collaboratively together, all of a sudden, all of those issues stop happening because you're working towards one common goal. As well as sales working closely with operations and your delivery functions, because actually that's where the full cycle comes in. So what's happening on the ground? What are people talking about? What are people struggling with? It gives you that intel to then talk to people, to have the credibility and provide them with some value that actually what they're seeing in their business isn't just a pocket. Everyone else is having the same problem, and providing that credibility or just that sounding board where people can come to you for that intel. And we're firm believers of paying it forward. So being helpful, and we always say one of our values is kind people are kind of people. We want to be giving back to the community we work and serve. And we know that actually people will remember that and they will come back to us. They will refer us to those. So I think that's probably the key elements. Is one is being kind. We could all use a friend. We could all use somebody to support us who's in our corner, but also collaborations. As an organisation, we have to work as a team, and organisations that have that clashing between teams, they're not winning together. Because actually, if a team works and operates together, they win together, but they lose together. And that's the most important thing. They shouldn't be at each other's throats saying, actually, you're doing this, you're doing that. Working together and working collaboratively, because actually you're competing against other organisations and they will have all their teams working together. So you need that as well. So I see that's sort of the key elements around sort of how we would grow and get new organisations.
No, I love it. I love everything you're saying. I know you have to get everyone on the team rowing in the same direction. That's the analogy I use. Is everyone's got to be rowing in the same direction, and you can be kind and you can have strong opinions at the same time in order to get work done. But one of the things I really like that you said that we've really tried to focus on at Copper, in terms of our product is, a lot of CRMs and a lot of companies just, the CRM will help you get a lead and close a deal. Right. And then that's great. You're done. But, you talk so much about how you're a relationship-based business, and a customer and client relationship doesn't end when you win a deal. It's really kind of the beginning of it. And so at Copper, we've really tried to focus on, help you get leads, help you win clients, and then help you deliver projects and services, and then help you create repeat customers and manage your existing customers, because that's the full customer life cycle. So why would you want a tool that just does half of that? And so we love that you're using Copper not only to win new business, but to also deliver and nurture your existing customers, because that's exactly what we're trying to do. And we feel like that's kind of a unique value proposition in the CRM space.
And I think that's probably the reason why we chose Copper, because I'm a fairly seasoned sales professional. I've worked with many different CRMs, but they always come from a single approach. You either go for a marketing CRM or you go for a sales CRM. And depending on which one you opt for, they always tend to favour and support that team more effectively. But what we wanted was a more holistic tool that works with marketing, works with sales, but also works with operations and delivery, because actually utilization of our previous CRM was probably around 30% of the organization. We are small, but about 30% of the people. And by migrating over to Copper, we've actually managed to get 100% of people utilizing the tool itself because it works for them. It gives them something that they want to do, want to update, because it helps and supports them as well. And that coming away from the quantity but going for the quality is so important for us, because more and more you'll see, I mean, you look at your personal inbox, you're constantly bombarded with these, I won't call them spam because I don't want to say horrible things to anyone I'm on a marketing list to, but not personalized at all. So they're just trying to throw as much as they possibly can out there with the hope that someone may bite. And we're going much more down the line of personalization. Actually, how can we support that particular person with that particular need? And that's, again, one of the other reasons why we chose Copper, because it provides us that quality over quantity.
I love it. And I think that's why we've focused on relationship-based businesses like consulting, like agencies, because it's less about throwing 1,000 leads into a funnel and getting 10 deals out the other side, right? That's other CRMs are going to be great at that, and that's awesome. But relationship type businesses, that's not what they're about. They're about creating a great experience all the way through, from the moment you start to interact all the way through delivery and again repeat customers. And I love that you've got your whole team in there, because in our opinion, you need to have a central source of truth for what this relationship is and who this client is and who's spoken with them and what conversations have we had, what documents have we shared, and that way every time you interact with them, you're fully up to date. You have all the context you need to create a great experience for that client or customer. And so we love that that's what you're doing with Copper. Is there a favorite feature that you have? Like, as you've used Copper, do you have like a favorite feature that you can't live without, or something that really stands out?
There's a few. If I'm perfectly honest, I wouldn't be able to choose, and I know that I've been asked it before. Actually, why choose Copper? What's the biggest thing? Actually, if you asked me a month ago, it'd be very different to what I would answer now. So I'm going to say both anyway. I'll probably keep on going and tell you more. But if you asked me a month or so ago, the biggest and favourite feature for Copper is the sidebar integration. Your tech team, when they listen to this, probably it's not called a sidebar add-on, whatever it is. They're probably laughing in the background, but I call it a sidebar add-on.
In Gmail, the
That's
Gmail
the one,
side?
yeah.
Okay.
Is it? It's in Gmail, the sidebar that you have open, because as a salesperson, I'm not going to say for everyone, but personally, if there is a corner to be cut in admin, I will take it. So actually making it easier for me to actually see everything on one screen, so I don't have to navigate away, and it's all there. It's fantastic. Having that there, that I can say, right, I'm talking to this person right now, they've sent me an email, and I've got the sidebar open where I can not only log the activity, but also create a new pipeline record, create a new deal, send an attachment off the Copper system, or upload it onto the system, all from not navigating away from that page. Just makes my life so much easier. And also, there's no excuse not to do it, because it is literally there. I'm probably going to live to regret saying that, because Joe will say, well, why didn't you do that? But it does make it such an easier experience, or user experience, to actually use. The second, well, as part of that, it's definitely such a simple system to use. If you've used some of the big players out there, the real big CRM systems, they're so complex. You have to get tech teams to come in and design half the system for you. You then need to get a PhD in creating automation. It doesn't work. So the simplicity of it is just perfect, because actually I can set up the automations. It's super intuitive. You know where you're going, and navigation is simple and easy to use. And what that does in the long term is increase efficiency. So people are using it quicker. It's not a laborious task to do, and it's really just an easy system to use, which makes it a lot better. And if you'll ask me today what my favourite part of the tool is, which you are, is a new system, a new feature actually, which was released I think about a month or so ago. But it's the pipeline automations. And I wrote a blog recently about the challenge of ghosting in sales. And I'm sure many salespeople who listen to this will completely understand that, especially this year, with the challenges of budget, especially in the UK market, but we know that the US, you guys have had some similar challenges. The ghosting that people have, the longer lead times, it takes a lot of that administration away, because you're constantly chasing for deals for updates, what's happening. But actually now we have an automated automation, where you actually would drop it into a pipeline stage, and then automatically these people would just get the normal, hey, how's it going? Have you any thoughts? Every sort of 7, 14, 30 days, where normally that'd be a task that we'd have to go in, review where we are, and then actually manually send those. It saves so much time for a small organisation like ours, and it's completely changed everything. And we're really focusing this year on efficiency and how we drive better efficiency moving through. So that's been a real game changer for us.
Oh, I love it. It's cool that you couldn't find just one. That's great. We find the Gmail sidebar extension is critical for our customers. So love that you find value out of that. And yeah, we just released those pipeline automations because of the reason you said, right? You nurturing deals and nurturing customers and creating automation around following up, but not a marketing follow-up. I think that's what's key. It's not like a newsletter or a marketing follow-up. It comes from you. It comes from your email, and it's a personal follow-up, just saying, hey, how's it going? Let's touch base, or whatever it might be. And we put a lot of work into that. So thank you for recognizing that. I'm happy that you're finding value out of those automations, for sure.
Absolutely. And it's as you said, it's a personalized approach as well. So it's not a automated marketing quantity basis. But again, even though it's templated and it's just a how's it going? We sent over this proposal. If you have any thoughts, do you want to jump on a call? It just saves 5-10 minutes. And if you have 20 of those deals, all of a sudden it becomes quite a great tool to be using. So if people aren't using it, that was the first recommendation I'd say. If you've got anyone new onto Copper, that's the first thing I would set up as a sales professional, is straight away what those automated pipeline emails would be, because it just saves so much time, and your efficiency will just rocket.
Yeah, it adds up. I mean, we used to create tasks for it, right? Where you move a stage and you create a task that says send an email. But we found that just creates busy work for people. And how do we take away busy work and just, if you're comfortable with it, just send an email. Just fire it off, and then you don't have to think about it. And you get hours back in your days and weeks. And so that's definitely the thought behind it. Okay. Rounding it back to your business, just want to ask a couple last questions just about Let's Talk Talent. One is, as you think about your business, what is one controversial opinion that you have? Is there anything like controversial you have, opinions you have about what you're doing? And this is Joe or Craig or both. What do you think?
I love that. Well, you can check it out on YouTube if you want, but I have a very strong opinion about the 9-box grid. I hate it. I think it's old school HR that should be literally binned and canned and whatever you want to do, run over. And I've definitely, and I won't go on my hobby horse about it, but it comes back to the fact that I don't like putting people into boxes. I think that I would never want to be judged or put on anything or promoted because I was a woman of a certain age or, background. And I think the 9-box grid just puts you in a box, tells you if you're high potential, but how can anybody tell you that you're low potential? It just doesn't exist because everyone's got potential. So kill the 9-box, please, someone kill it, because I've been trying for too many years.
I like that a lot. I mean, well, yeah, assigning someone low potential, it's maybe a lazy thing to do versus going in and actually finding the potential that this person has.
Exactly.
Great.
And who as a leader or a manager would ever have that conversation? It's just the most ridiculous conversation to even think of having. So why the hell do we create a system of succession planning that tells me that I've got less potential than you?
Yeah, I agree. I like it. And
Yeah,
I've been at many companies that use it. And so I see,
yeah,
I hear you on that for sure.
hate it.
I totally agree, Joan, but I'm not going to copy you. But I think one of the controversial elements, I think, in sort of the world of talent as well, is the use of generative AI. A lot of people get afraid of it, but I think it has people who use it, especially within talent acquisition, I think is a real key thing. People are worried about it, about how AI is writing people's CVs for them or helping them apply for new jobs. Whereas I think it's a real fundamental skill, because if people can use it effectively in what they do and how they do it, it just shows that actually they're forward thinking in how they work, and it's here to stay. It's not going to go anywhere. It's going to be a fundamental part of the way we work it is now, let alone moving forward. So that's more controversial. I'm sure people would probably think, no, don't. The thought that somebody wrote their CV with the help of AI is probably scary to some people, but controversially, I think it shows initiative and someone who's really trailblazing in the world of utilization of the tools that are out there.
Yeah, it's not going away, right? It's certainly something that we should lean into. And I agree, if there's tools out there that can help you get your job done better or what your task done more efficiently, why would you not use that? Now, I don't know if maybe we shouldn't play this video for my kids trying to do their homework with AI, but that's maybe a different discussion. Okay, last question is, what's the next big thing for Let's Talk Talent? Any big initiatives, big exciting things that are coming up? What's the next big thing?
I think I'll go first. In the world of sort of on my remit of sales, the big thing for us is that international growth. We know it's going to be a big step, but it's not going to be a quick thing. And we work with international businesses now, but actually, as soon as you start then trying to go regionally, it's a whole new ball game. So that's going to be our next big thing, and we're going to slowly put in the foundations to drive that and have a concentrated effort in actually how do we achieve that more effectively. But ultimately what that will do is it will diversify our clients, and actually having better diversity in our clients will diversify how we work with our clients and have a better, more rounded view of how we can support talent, not just in the UK and internationally, but more regionally as well. So I think that's a big thing for us into next year and probably going to be the next 3 years in itself. But Joe, I don't know if you had anything different to that.
I totally agree with you, but then I was thinking about it from also a product perspective. And I've always said we're not a product business, we're a solutions business. Craig's heard it about a million times, so he's laughing at me. But I would say if you think about the business, international is definitely a growth area. But what I've been itching to do since we launched a range of content. So every month we do free webinars. I'm not allowed to use the word free, but they are resources, white papers, toolkits and things. And WhatsApp courses is I want to create a Let's Talk Talent Academy that gives back to the HR community. It may not have a massive say, it will have an awareness and a sales focus in effect that hopefully people will get to know us and a brand awareness. But for me, it's about giving back to a community that at the moment, if you read the Times article that was out this week about saying that HR is a redundant monolith within organizations and it shouldn't exist and it's taken up too much money within businesses. I think that that's completely wrong and that we should be actually building the next generation of HR leaders. And I want us to play a part in doing that. So the Academy hopefully will launch sort of H2 next year. So for us around sort of May, June, around Learning at Work Week. But for me, that's us building on the knowledge and the skills and experience that we have, but in a way offering that out to a wider community who can take advantage of it.
Love it. I love what both of you said. Very tactile and then very sort of inspirational around what's next. Well, just to round things out, I just want to tell you thank you again for taking the time to talk to us. Thank you for being a customer. We're grateful for customers like you that find value and that provide feedback and will take the time to chat with us. It means a lot. And if there are things that you'd like us to do better or like the tool to do better, please don't hesitate to reach out. But again, thank you and congrats on an amazing business, an inspiring business. Love what you're doing. Very important. People are the most important part of any business, and nurturing and finding their talent and growing that talent. There's nothing more important in the business world, I don't think. So congrats on what you're doing and keep going after it. And we're hoping to continue to have a long partnership to help you run your business. So thank you for taking the time.
Thank
Pleasure.
you.
Thank you so much for having us.